The strange thing about money problems is how quiet they are. No alarms. No warnings. Just a slow pressure that builds in the background of everyday life. You wake up. You go to work. You do what you're supposed to do. And yet, the numbers never seem to settle. Most people don't fail with money. They just follow rules that stopped working a long time ago. You can see it in small moments. Your salary hits the account. There's a brief sense of relief. Not happiness. Relief. A few days later, rent is gone. Then the car payment. Insurance. Groceries. Gas. Nothing dramatic happens. But the balance quietly drops back to where it always is. You check your bank app. You stare at the number for a second longer than usual. Then you close it. Not because you don't care, but because you already know what it's going to say. This is what confuses people. They're working. They're trying. They're not being reckless. And yet, the feeling of being behind never leaves. For a long time, we assumed this meant something was wrong with us. That we weren't disciplined enough. That we should be better at budgeting. That we made a mistake somewhere along the way. But what if the problem isn't personal? What if the part that was missing was the explanation? No one ever sat us down and explained how the money system actually works. School taught us how to calculate numbers, not how those numbers move once they leave our hands. Parents taught you as safety. Work hard. Don't take risks. Be responsible. Jobs taught us how to earn. Show up. Be reliable. Wait for raises. But no one explained what happens after the paycheck arrives. Money doesn't just sit there. It starts moving the moment it comes in. Bills don't wait. They repeat. Rent doesn't care how hard you worked. Insurance doesn't care if it was a good month. Subscriptions renew quietly. Prices rise without announcements. Nothing in the system feels aggressive. It's not an attack. It's a slow drain. That's why it's hard to point at one mistake and say, that's the problem. There is no single problem. There's a structure. And inside that structure, pressure feels normal. Debt feels normal. Stress feels normal. Being tired all the time feels normal. In the US, especially, life quietly became expensive by default. A car isn't optional. Healthcare isn't predictable. Rent moves faster than income. Emergencies don't come with payment plans. And yet, we still hold on to an old promise. Work hard, and you'll be fine. For decades, that promise worked. A single income could support a family. Loyalty meant stability. Savings actually created breathing room. But the system changed. Slowly. Quietly. Without an announcement. Hard work still matters. It's just no longer enough by itself. That's why so many people feel like they're doing everything right, and still falling behind. Raises don't feel like progress. They feel like maintenance. Two incomes don't feel like comfort. They feel like survival. People aren't lazy. They're exhausted. And exhaustion creates guilt. Because when you don't understand the system, you blame yourself. You think you should be better. Smarter. More disciplined. But the truth is simpler, and harder to accept. You weren't taught the full picture. You were taught how to play one role inside a system you were never shown. The system doesn't reward effort the way it used to. It rewards position, timing, structure. And if you don't know that, you spend years trying to fix your life with tools that were never designed for this version of the world. That's why it feels worse now. Life sped up. Costs grew quietly. Stability became expensive. The system didn't break. It evolved. People didn't. And that gap, that silence between effort and outcome, is where anxiety lives. This is the part no one talks about. Understanding money doesn't start with saving tips or discipline. It starts with seeing the system clearly. Once you see it, something shifts. You stop calling survival a failure. You stop treating stress as weakness. You stop wondering why it feels harder than it should. Because the system was explained to someone. Just not to us. And once you realize that, You stop blaming yourself for struggling inside it.